Every morning, before the town was fully awake, a woman named Clara walked the same path. She woke up before the sun, when the sky was still soft and gray. The streets were quiet, and the air felt clean and cool. Most people were asleep, but Clara was already tying her shoes and stepping outside. She did not walk to exercise. She did not walk to reach a place. She walked because it helped her think. Clara lived alone in a small house near the edge of town. The house was simple, with white walls and a wooden porch. There was a small garden in front, but she did not spend much time there. Her favorite place was the path that began just past the last street light. The path followed a narrow river and led into a group of tall trees. Birds often rested there, and sometimes deer crossed the path early in the morning. Clara liked how the world felt honest there, quiet, real. As she walked, she thought about her life. She was not unhappy, but she was not excited either. Her days were steady and predictable. She worked at a local library, returning books to shelves and helping people find what they were looking for. She liked the work, but it never surprised her. At night, she cooked simple meals and read until she felt tired. Then she slept, and the next day looked very much like the last. Some people would say this was a peaceful life. Others would say it was a lonely life. Clara was not sure which one was true. One morning, something different happened. As Clara walked along the river, she noticed a bench she had never seen before. It was made of dark wood and placed carefully beside the path. The bench looked new but simple, as if it had always belonged there. She stopped walking. "I've never seen that before," she said quietly to herself. She walked past this spot every morning. She was sure of it. Curious, Clara sat down on the bench. The wood felt smooth and warm, even though the morning air was cool. From the bench, she could see the river moving slowly, reflecting the early light. She sat there for a long time, longer than she usually walked. When she finally stood up, she felt something she had not felt in a while: interest. The next morning, Clara walked again. The bench was still there. This time, a piece of paper rested on it. It was folded once, placed carefully in the center. Clara hesitated. She looked around, but no one else was there. Slowly, she picked up the paper and opened it. Inside, there were only a few words, written in neat handwriting. What do you wish your life felt like? Clara read the sentence twice. She had asked herself many questions in life, but not this one, not in this way. She folded the paper and placed it back on the bench. The rest of the day, the question stayed in her mind. What did she wish her life felt like? Not what she wanted to own, not where she wanted to live, how she wanted it to feel. That night, Clara could not sleep easily. Her thoughts moved like the river beside the path. The next morning, she returned to the bench. This time, she brought a pen. She sat down, took the paper, and wrote, "I wish my life felt meaningful." She folded the paper and left it on the bench. For a moment, she felt silly, like she was talking to no one. But as she stood up to leave, she felt lighter. Each morning after that, there was a new question. One asked, "When do you feel most like yourself?" Another asked, "What have you been avoiding?" Clara answered every one. Sometimes her answers were short. Sometimes they filled the whole page. She never saw who left the questions. She never heard footsteps or voices. Only the quiet sounds of water and birds. Slowly, something inside her began to change. She noticed she was smiling more at the library. She started recommending books she loved instead of just the popular ones. She spoke more honestly, even when it felt uncomfortable. One afternoon, a young woman came into the library looking lost. "I don't know what I'm looking for," the woman said. Clara smiled gently. "That's okay," she replied. "That happens more often than you think." She helped the woman find a book, not because it was famous, but because it asked deep questions. When the woman left, she said, "Thank you. I feel calmer." Clara watched her go and felt a quiet pride. Weeks passed. One morning, There was no question on the bench. Instead, there was a small box. Clara opened it slowly. Inside was a notebook. The cover was plain with no title. On the first page, there was a sentence. The questions are yours now. Clara sat there for a long time. She understood. The bench was never about answers given to her. It was about learning how to listen to herself. That morning, she wrote her own question on the first page of the notebook. What is one small thing I can do today to live honestly? She closed the notebook and took it with her. From that day on, Clara still walked every morning. The bench remained, but the questions came from her now. Her life did not suddenly change in big ways. She did not move away or become famous. She did not wake up every day feeling perfect. But her days felt real. And every morning, as she walked beside the river, Clara felt something she once thought was missing. She felt awake.